Hello friends, welcome to my channel Clinical Biochemistry with Dr. PK Prabhakar. Today we are going to talk about why proteins are not used for energy processes or energy production processes. We know that we are having some of the specific biomolecules in our body, like we are having carbohydrate, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. All these are biomolecules. These are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But mainly we are using carbohydrates and lipid only for energy production. Why not nucleic acid? Why not protein? Nucleic acid is a well-known fact that it is our genetic material. So normally we don't metabolize or we cannot metabolize our genetic material because all our character depends on nucleic acids. So that's why nucleic acid is not going to be used for energy production purposes. Why not lipid is going to be used? Why not protein is going to be used for energy production purposes? So there are certain specific regions. If you say there are four specific regions, yeah, four specific causes you can call, because of which protein cannot be your or proteins are not preferred energy sources. Uh, we can metabolize proteins. Protein can be metabolized for energy production. It is not the preferred energy source. It is not the first choice for cells or the for body as a energy source, like glucose or fat we are having. So there are certain specific regions. The first region is you can call it energy efficiency. Proteins are normally essential for number of processes. It is work used for the body building processes, repairing processes, then enzymatic reactions. Most of the enzymes are chemically proteins. So all the biochemical metabolic reactions depends on enzymes. For cellular structures, proteins are compulsory components. If we will use proteins for energy production purposes, all these processes are going to be affected. So proteins, if you will use proteins for energy, uh, because this is less efficient than carbohydrates or fat, as protein play a very crucial role in the maintenance of body structure as well as the functions. So first one is the energy efficiency, and that's why we are not using energy as a energy source. If you'll see, second one is the nitrogen content. When we are talking about the nitrogen content, protein contains nitrogen, and when they are metabolized, nitrogen is released in the form of ammonia or in the form of urea, because ammonia we cannot excrete. So all the waste, nitrogen waste, normally we remove in the form of urea because it is a water soluble forms. The removal of nitrogen requires energy from our body, and making the process is energetically very less favorable compared to the metabolic process of carbohydrate and fat, which does not have nitrogen. So, for nitrogen containing compound, because you know that if we are going to convert ammonia into urea, so for synthesis of one molecule of urea, we have to spend 4 ATP. So, production of urea, which is a waste product, it is a very cost effective processes, and so it's not favorable process for our body. So that's why that is another reason why we are not preferring protein as an energy source. Third thing is, third reason you can call it, it is a protein functions. When we're talking about the protein functions, protein have a specific functions in our body, like it works as a enzymes, because almost all enzymes are protein except ribosome, which is the composed of RNA. Means RNA which works as enzyme are called as ribosome. So except ribosome, all the proteins, all the enzymes are protein. So protein also works as a receptors on our cells. So most of the receptors which present on our cell surfaces are proteinous in nature. Most of the transporters, transporting molecules which transports one biomolecules to other part of the body, are protein in nature. Most of the structural components are protein in nature. So if we will use protein for energy, it would compromise these essential roles and disrupt the normal cellular functions. So that's why protein is not going to be used. And the fourth and last one is the storage forms. When we are talking about the storage forms, carbohydrates and fat serves as the primary energy storage in our body. So carbohydrates normally we store in the form of glycogen in our liver in the animal cases, whereas carbohydrates are stored in the case of plants in the form of starch. Uh, and when in muscles also, mainly in the liver and then some amount in muscles also. If we want to store fat, we are going to store in the adipose tissue, especially in the form of triglyceride. So these storage forms are more energy dense than protein. So that's why it is easy to store energy reserve food in the form of carbohydrate and lipid. So these are the four different reasons why we are not using protein as an energy source. So in this situation where there are the shortage of carbohydrates or fat, such as during prolonged fasting or during prolonged starvations, the body may start breaking down proteins for energy. So protein can be used, but not as a preferred source of energy. This is typically a secondary or very less favorable metabolic pathway. The body tries to preserve proteins for their vital functions and relies on carbohydrates and fat for the majority of its energy need. So this is the reason why we are not preferring proteins as the energy source. We are having some other sources like carbohydrate and lipid. Another day we will talk about why carbohydrate is preferred over the lipid. However, fat gives you more energy. Like if 1 gram of fat gives you 9.2 calorie, carbohydrate gives 4.1 calorie. One fatty acid roughly gives you 100 plus ATP. One glucose gives you only 36 to 38 ATP. Then also carbohydrate is the preferred energy source, the first choice of energy source. So that we will talk later on in the another day. So this is all about for today. If you like the video, press the like button. If you're not subscribed my channel, you can subscribe it. If you have any query, any questions, you can write in the comment box. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.